Okay, so last time I showed you how I made the train. Now we gotta make the train station, right? So stay tuned for that, and we'll just put it all together. All right, here. The question is, how do I get in there? Okay, we're back at making this book nook. Now we got to make the train station. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to do a few lights. There's a couple of them in here. It's pretty straightforward. We've made these kind before. You just take the little string light here and string it through the lamp cover. So it looks like a station light. Once we got our light strung, we're gonna put it through the holes here. There's about 3 of these archways that are gonna go in here. It's pretty tight fitting, so just do it just how they say, and I promise they'll fit. At first I flipped it down like this. It goes down just a smidge, otherwise the little crossbar, this little pin that holds it in place, won't fit over the shrink tube, so you have to put it down just a little bit and snap it in. There you go. And we're going to continue the trend of painting the edges. Again, this is completely optional, but I'm just doing a little finishing touch. I just happened to find some paint that's almost exactly the right color and just make it look a little more finished. Now we got the middle little archway, and you can see how they start out with this brown edge, and I went ahead and painted it. And I also painted the little sign a little bit more, just made it a little more defined. Otherwise that would have been solid gray. And we're just gonna put these teeny tiny little pins. They're tiny. You can use your pliers if needed. And it does fit tight, so I don't think I glued anything from now on. There might have been a couple spots where it was a little loose, but for the most part, no glue required. And there you go. You got the sign. Next, we got the clock for the time station, and this is how it comes. It's pretty, plain, which is cool in its own. But you know me, I had to zhuzh it up. Ta-da! There we go. And I have some nice fine tipped paint brushes. My oldest, he likes to paint Warhammers and stuff, and he's got some, I tell you, a good tip. If you want some good, fine, and reasonably priced paintbrushes, go to those Warhammer stores or the Dungeons and Dragons, those kind of places. They have some nice paintbrushes. And we're just gonna put this together. I did glue the face of the clock on there. Looks like a little wristwatch. And make sure, the time makes sense. 12 is at the top. And then we're gonna just string these all through. Now this is that little Z piece. They do give you extras because I can imagine if you squished it too hard, it would snap. So just be careful. But there are spares if you need it. There's 3 lights in this whole thing, and this is the second one. Same as the first one that we just did. Just string it up just like that. This one you're going to lace through the holes just like it says on there. Just take your time. I did have to glue that little end piece there. It kept falling off on me. But just loop, lace, loop. And then we're going to glue it down so that it stays down flat. Once I got it glued down, and I used clear glue from my last kit I just did. I had some left over. Works great for wiring and stuff like that. And then I just decided, let's touch this up with a little bit of gray, just so it's not so obvious there's a wire there. There we go. Now we're getting closer to putting the roof together, but before we do that, we have to string these little wires all together. So there's 3 little archways that you have to kind of go in a row and make sure they're in order. So the clock goes first, then the sign, and then the last one that just has a light. It is a little tight, and I found the trickiest part of this was I don't know how far away apart they should be. So I did it really loose in the beginning so that I have enough slack to work with. But as you go along, you're going to see that it's a little bit trickier as you go, because you just don't know how much wire you need to get to where you need to put it. Now I got these roughly about where they should go. It's not exact yet, but we have enough room to pull it through if we need to. And we're going to put this over the top. You'd think it goes that way, but nope, it goes this way. And those little holes there, that's where each of those archways are going to go. So this one's a little tricky because it wants to pop up. So you're going to do one at a time. And then you're going to put the piece over the top. To lock it in place, we're just going to put these little U-shaped clips on the side of each one of these. And then you're going to push it down. You got to kind of line it. You have to have 6 hands to do this. You got to line up the holes with the archway on the bottom, plus the little notches on the top piece. So it's a little tricky. The first one's always the hardest, and then after that you kind of get the gist of it. We got one, so let's do the second one. Now the last one, the very front here. It's a little awkward. Just as long as you're in no hurry, you'll get it. And you think this is awkward, it gets worse. And ta-da! And this is where now you can pull all those wires through to make them all nice and even. Now we know how far apart they're going to be. Okay, now we're going to make the train track. So you get all these little parts, and you can see they're all brown on the edges. So of course, I tortured myself and I painted them all. And now we're just gonna stick them on there. It's 2 doubled together on each rail. I don't know what you call them. The long ways. The railways. Hey, we got a train track now. We got somewhere where the train to go. And now we're going to stick it on the platform. Pretty straightforward. Just match up the holes and push it on. And now we're going to build the little battery box here. So you see that hole there? That's where our last third light goes. And it's a little shorty. And they did that on purpose because, you know, you don't need a long wire for this one that's going to be right next to the power box. You just stick it through, just like that. And then we're going to stick it onto the platform here. This is mainly this area, the little chunk that's taken out on the top part, that's where the battery box goes. On the bottom part, this is where all your excess wires are going to get jammed into. And it is very tight. This was probably the trickiest wiring so far I've done. And this is a new kind of power box. I haven't worked with one of these before. That little yellow square is a touchpad. So it, you know, those lights that you kind of just touch them and they turn on? That's the same idea. Just it's a little touch pad. So we're going to build the box. You got to feed all the wires through here. And it is tight fitting. Warning. Now before I secure it in there, I'm going to trim my wires down. I'm going to strip the ends just a little bit so that there's exposed wires. First we're going to feed them through as we need them. It's easier to do it before you strip the wires. So just feed it through the holes. There's one in the back and one in the front. And you're going to see what I mean when this is tight fitting. I think the hole for the wire should have been over just a smidge more. Because once you get all these wires in there, plus the power box, it doesn't move very easily. And also, I did the, you can see I did the power switch up. I did flip it over eventually, but you want that facing down because you want to be able to turn it on and off underneath. Okay, we got it in there. We got these down to about the size. I didn't trim them down because I wasn't sure how far or how long these wires needed to be. So I just used my nail to strip these wires down so that it exposes the inner little silver wire in there. And you just put all your whites together. And that goes with the black wire. And then you put all the yellows together and that goes with the red wire. And test it in between before you seal it all up. Make sure it works. And you're going to see it turn on. That touchpad, there we go. We're doing something right. Now we can seal it all up with the tape. Or the shrink tubes if you have them. I didn't have mine handy, so I just used the little tape they provided there. It works. And we're going to flip that around because you can see how tight it is in there. We need to be able to access that power button. It will be, it's doable, but it'll be tricky to change the battery on this sucker. All right, now we got the floor and it comes this way, nice and gray. But you know what? I felt like we needed to fancy it up a little bit. There we go. We got a little more pizzazz now. First, we gotta screw down this little touchpad. And those screws are teeny, teeny, tiny, and it's tricky, so this took a while. I lost a couple of screws. And test all in between. Just make sure you're not crimping a wire here than there. Because once you put this together, it's really difficult to fix it. You have to take almost the whole thing apart to get to it. Alright, we got that part. Now, let's, there's two little things. One is a luggage rack. So we got this cute little cart. And this is as it comes with the kit. So I'm going to put it together here. And then I'm going to decide, you know what? Let's paint it. Why not? Continue the trend. There we go. That's a little better. And we have two pieces of luggage. They're pretty straightforward. It's just that gray piece, that's the handle that goes on top, and it's just sandwiched in between the red pieces. So that gray piece also has the little notch at the bottom so that you have a place to put it into the cart. And of course, these I painted as well. And then you just put them right into the cart. There's a little slot for each one. Couldn't be easier. There's also a bench here because you gotta sit somewhere while you're waiting for the train. And these I also painted the edges. And let's put them together. The only part on this one that needed gluing was the back. And it just fits right in there. There you go, a cute little bench. And now we're just gonna stick it on the platform. The bench kept wanting to come off, so once I was making the walls and things like that, I just left it off. I'd rather not deal with it until the end. The cart stayed right there. That one stayed nicely. Okay, there's a little front piece here with a little, looks like a little mouse hole. I imagine it's for drainage or something like that, probably. And that just finishes off the front edge here. Now there's two of these little lamps. I don't know why. I must have hit pause when I thought I was hitting record, but you just put it together like it says up there. Very straightforward. And you got these little faux lamp looking things. And I painted it all black just to make it a little more lampy. Lampy? All right. Now we got the walls. You can see this brick. And since I made a nice fancy floor, I'm going to just here and there paint some of these bricks a different color. Let's make it a little more poppy. That's better. And then we're just going to glue these columns on. there's a piece that goes over the top. And of course I painted a few of those bricks as well. I did the exact same thing on the other side. So I painted kind of these all at the same time. Hey, you got the paint out, you might as well use it, right? Now we got some posters that go on the wall. If we read them, they're the other book Nooks. They're advertisements for the other Nooks. But they're cute. So we'll stick them on there. You see on the the left-hand column there, we put one of the lights there. And now we got to make a little sign. It just has a train, and it's got a picture of a train glued to the front. Just like that. And I didn't think it needed the edges painted, because this time the wood kind of goes with it. So you just sandwich these two together and then stick it in the hole that they wanted you to stick it in. Ta-da! That wall is done. On to the next. Alright, now we gotta stick this wall to the track floor. And they provided us with these little brackets. The first time I did this, it was awkward because I wasn't quite sure how to do it. But I would suggest screwing it on one piece first and then putting the other one. Don't try to put the two together and screw both at the same time. It's awkward, and those screws are so tiny and they'll fall out all the time. So do one half of the bracket screwed in and then screw it to the other part. There we go. One side secure. We did it. Now we gotta do it again. Now this is what I mean about the wires being so awkward, because this just flip-flaps all over the place until you build the whole box. So I try to pull it out as far as I could without, disconnecting it, but you just kind of have to go with it. So we're just going to build the other wall pretty much how we built the first one. The main difference on this one is we got a tiny little ledge here. So you got to put this little piece on there, and then there's little squares that go underneath it. And this one has the other little lamp that we made. There was two of them. And this wall is done. And this is attached the same way as the other one with the little brackets. So we're going to screw it into one side first, make our life a little easier, make sure which side goes where, and then screw it to the main project. go. Not too bad. It does tighten up after the whole piece kind of tightens up nicely. And again, that roof piece is just, that's probably the most annoying part. It's just flapping everywhere and in your way. But we got it. Ta-da! Look at that. Okay, now we got to do the back end. So this is kind of cool. I did end up painting a few of these bricks, just like I did all the rest. And that little curved arch piece goes in the back. And there's going to be a mirror. So it's kind of an optical illusion of the tunnel just goes on forever kind of thing. And you'll see. So let's do this first. And you're going to put it together, this little funky little piece. It makes absolutely no sense right now, but it will later. This is what holds the mirror in place at a kind of an angle. And this isn't going to be seen, so we don't need to paint it or make it pretty or anything. And we're going to stick it to the back of our little tunnel here. And because we have to work in the back here, this little flappy piece that's been annoying me the whole time, I'm just going to temporarily just kind of put it on the top. But I'm noticing that the wires aren't quite long enough to do that, so we're going to have to pull that out a little bit. But I got to put this out of the way so that I can work back here. Yeah, I was really scared to pull these wires. I didn't want it to all come apart. Yeah, you can see me testing the wire, the lights every time I pull, and then I test it just to make sure I didn't pull it apart by accident. But I need some slack. There we go. Okay, now we're going to stick the tunnel onto the back. And now we're going to slip that little mirror in there. Make sure you take the covering off, otherwise it's not going to work as nicely. We gotta somehow figure out how to get the wires to the top here. So I'm trying to debate. It's like, should I go on the side? Because I don't want to cover up the mirror. I just ended up putting it up right there so that we can put the back on. And this is a two-piece backing, so there's a little arch in the top. And you just snap it in. These fit nice and tight, so no gluing. Okay, we're finally going to do this roof. I was hoping we did the roof first so I can get those wires out of the way, but nope, it's last. But first we build this box. I guess it's like a big air conditioning unit or something. But it basically, once I was finished with it, I realized its main purpose is to hide the wires in the back. So we're just going to build this nice, big, chunky box, and it's nice and tight. Once you got the box, then there's these little zigzag pieces on there. Just makes it look more industrial, you know. I didn't paint any of this. This doesn't super show too much. And the wood coloring works with that. And it just slips right in. There's a couple slots back there. My camera's having a hard time focusing. And And it just kind of snaps in there. Boink. Just like that. And then we're going to tip it up a little bit. You can see the mirror. It gives kind of that effect that the train track goes all the way around. Hi! And there's a long station there with more benches. And then we're going to put the front piece on. And this piece has a bunch of little wooden pieces that just glue right onto it. Pretty straightforward. I didn't paint any of it. It kind of looked nice this way. And we just snap it right into the front here. I was going to do this last, but then I realized that this kind of dictates where the rest of the roof goes. The order in the book is definitely the order that you want to make these. It doesn't make sense at the time, and it's annoying at times. You want to get something else out of the way, but there is a rhyme and reason to it. All right, it's roof time. We got these two funny little pieces, and they have little slots cut out at the end, you could see there. And that's right where your cardboard paper piece fits right into it. See that little notch? That fits right in there. There's one in the front and one in the back. I did put a little glue in there just to secure it in, and then it should, if we did it all right, just slide right in. Nice and tight and snug. Almost there. Looks pretty good as is. And I'm just kind of looking to make sure none of the wires show. I don't have to do any adjustments before I close it up. Looks pretty good. Alright, now we got these two side beams here, and they just seal everything in. So just snap them in there. And then we got one final piece, this blue see-through here. It looks like they all come apart, and they almost they can, but it's all one piece. And there is a plastic film on it, so make sure you take that off before you get too far. And what you do, and this is very fiddly, but is you put it in the slots and you kind of slide it so that it locks into place. Takes a little time, but I can tell you from the future, I did get it. I think the hardest part of this whole thing is keeping the lint off that plastic. There we go. Now we got the roof, and you just kind of slide it to the side and it locks in. Hard to tell, but you slide it. And the very last thing you do is put the little train in there. It does fit on the rails. I like this. I didn't know this when I got it, but you can take the train out anytime. It's not glued in there. So you can look at the train, because the train is very cool. There's a lot of work in that. There we go, our first book nook. It came out really cute. I like it a lot. We built a whole train. We built a whole train station. Haven't done that before. Well, not me personally, right? And I think it turned out really neat. And the best part, it actually fits in the bookshelf. Look at that. And you can touch it on and off. Adorable. I might do more. What do you think? Think I should do some more? Leave me a comment in the comments what you think. And by the way, if you haven't already, hit that subscribe button. We got lots more kits and projects and things to do. So make sure you hit that subscribe and give it a thumbs up. Then I'll get into your recommended more often, and it encourages me to do more too. I gotta keep busy, right? Summer's coming up. We gotta do some more spring things, and there's a lot. Anyway, so you guys, have a wonderful day, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.